Okay, so in the final part of this hands-on demonstration, let me show you how to go about creating your own vector features using digitizing. And in this case, we're going to use the damaged buildings feature class that we created earlier. Now, before we get started, we have to link up that domain table to this feature class. And the way you can do it, or at least one way you can do it, and again, if there's a better way to do it, please leave a comment. I'm going to first bring this feature class over into the map. And then I'm going to right click on that feature class and go to its attribute table. And because there's nothing in it yet, there's no records, I want to tell it to use that domain table to apply damage levels for this field. So to do that, I click on the field damage level, right click and go to fields. And then if I go to that field specifically under where it says domain, I double click. And then you can see new, but here's damage level that we created earlier. And so I'll save that. Close the fields out. And then just as a quick test, if I even go to start creating something, you can see that the domain table is starting to populate. Now, I'm not going to do it at this point. We're going to create some actual real records. But that's how I link up the domain table into the feature class. Now, to go about actually digitizing some features, to do that, I'm going to go to the Edit menu. And then under Features, I'm going to select Create. And this gives you what are called templates. Now, when you start doing any kind of editing on vector feature classes in your map, all the editable layers are available to you. In this case, the buildings and the roads. Now, I'm only interested in the buildings. And the idea of a template is that whenever you create something, it'll have an initial look in terms of its symbology and also its attributes. So let's say if I didn't want it to initially look like a green fill symbol, I could go to the map symbology, double click on the symbol, and under properties, instead of green, let's say I really make it want to stick out, I'll make it yellow. And another thing too is I can set the template values of attributes. So let's say every building should start with a 1 and every damage level, and here's my domain table, has no damage, and so forth. Now, to actually go about creating a feature, you have a variety of different tools that I talked about earlier. And let's do a simple digitize. I'll do this building here. And so I've selected the create a polygon, and I simply just go and click and trace around it with left clicks on a Windows system. And you can see that the shape starts to fill as I click along. And I don't claim to be the best digitizer, but when I double click, that finishes the shape. And if I go look at the attribute table that has records that will be updated as I create the feature, it can be interesting to see how the domain table I used previously can be applied, and I can also fill out attributes for the newly created features. And let's say I want to change my mind, no damage. You can make an edit to the attribute right here, make it moderate damage, and so forth. I can save my edits. I just did one, but it's helpful to always be saving. and continue the process. Now, of course, you can, I'll briefly show you things you can also do. Let's say you can see I made, it's not really perfect here. If I want to modify the feature, I've selected it. If I want to edit the vertices, for example, if I click on that tool, you can see that I now can modify the shape. And another important part of editing vector features is snapping. Now, you can see I have snapping turned on, and if you look through it, it'll snap to other vector features in the map. For example, the nearest polyline, polygon, edges, and so forth. And this can be really helpful. Let's say hypothetically I wanted to have these points, and you can see the snapping coming on. When I move my mouse over, you can see the little text, damage buildings vertex. I could, if I wanted to make it touch the line, see how it says edge, study area roads edge, right? That'll ensure that my geometry snaps to where I want it to. And you can see here how it's giving me sort of even a before and after preview. You know, here's what the current what the current feature is, this black line, and the proposed edit, as it were, is in the yellow. And when I hit save, the edits get made and I can continue with my work. So that was a brief overview of how to digitize features. And this concludes the hands-on demonstration of how to go about working with data in ArcGIS Pro in terms of downloading data sets from the internet, bringing those data sets into ArcGIS Pro, creating a file geodatabase, a domain table, a feature data set, and a feature class, importing data sets into your file geodatabase, and then creating vector features using digitizing. In these videos, I taught you about 4 things. First, you learned about metadata. Remember that metadata is the idea of data about data. Metadata is very important for making sure that a data set you will use is relevant and of a quality level necessary for your project. As you saw in the laboratory exercise, metadata was very important for helping me make decisions about the relevancy and quality of data sets I used for my study area. Next, I showed you how to go about finding geographic data on the web from a wide range of different sources. This is perhaps one of the best skills that you can learn, is how to review if a given data set is worth your time and effort. And like I said, this is in fact where metadata can become very important. I then showed you about file geodatabases, which are a standard data storage format used in the ArcGIS Pro software. As you saw in the laboratory exercise demonstration, I created a file geodatabase, created a feature dataset within my file geodatabase, and then created a feature class within the feature dataset. I then imported datasets I downloaded off the web into my file geodatabase. This put all of my datasets for my study area in one location, making it easier to manage. Finally, I showed you some of the basics of digitizing, or how you can go about creating your own vector features using the feature creation tools of ArcGIS Pro. As a reminder, you can access the instructions for this laboratory exercise from the link provided in the video description below. I hope that this GIS Masterclass has now given you some confidence in going about working with data in ArcGIS Pro. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to this channel, like this video, or leave me a comment or anything in these videos you think I missed or are tips that other viewers might like to know. And be sure to hit the notifications button so you can stay up to date on new GIS Masterclass and other videos on this channel. Thanks for watching. Hi, this is Brian Tomaszewski. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and share this video. Also, please consider subscribing to this channel and clicking the notification icon to stay up to date on new videos from this channel. Thanks for watching.